All right, we're here today with Anthony Tolliver, NBA professional and player for the Portland Trailblazers. Anthony, thanks for making time for us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got a big game tonight. I know you got to get a power nap in before the game. You going to take it easy on us tonight, or?
No, I can't do that. That's, my job is to do just the opposite, actually, to do whatever we can to get a win. So, it's we're all, everybody in the West is wanting to get as many wins as possible because it's going to be a tough race.
Well, I got some business and sort of life questions for you, but just to wrap up on basketball, how are you feeling about the Trailblazers? Making a run in the playoffs this year. I mean, obviously you got some incredible talent, and you've been on a few different teams and been in the league for a while, so your assessment of talent is probably at a high level. How are you feeling?
I feel really good, man. I mean, we have, in my opinion, the best point guard in the NBA. Damian Lillard is unbelievable. We just have a lot of great pieces that, if we put it together, if we play the right way and do what we're supposed to do, we have a chance to compete with anybody. And that's how I feel about our situation. So, right now, there's a lot of figuring out, the details, a lot of new guys in the rotation. So we're all trying to figure each other out, first time playing with each other. So, I think once it clicks, it's going to be a very, very good team.
I got to ask you, I'm a big Sacramento Kings fan back from when you were playing for the Kings. Had a little bit of a rough start with sort of an 0-5 start, and now seem to be sort of hitting their stride. League-wide, how do the other teams sort of generally view the Kings as sort of, kind of the same old Kings, or maybe a team on the rise? What's your sort of candid view of the Kings these days?
It's not same old Kings anymore. It used to be, a lot of people would come in here with a lot of confidence that, hey, we're going to get an easy win tonight. Everybody can rest up and be ready for the next day. But now it's just the opposite. I feel like the Kings might be the fastest team in the league. And so it's, hey, we got to rest up so that we can keep up with these guys. They got a lot of young talent, a lot of great shooters, and definitely a team that is dangerous and can beat you at any given night.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about activities on the court. Let's talk a little bit about activities off the court. I mean, you've got, Damian's got his rap singing. He's got, you've got a number of different investment, activities outside of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Broadly, obviously, NBA players are people too. And effectively, they're doing a lot of things outside of that. Just scheduling wise, how does that happen? Is it, your full-time activity? Obviously, the training and conditioning of your body and the schedule, the NBA schedule, takes up a whole lot of time. Are you compartmentalizing and sort of working in the off season on these activities, or do you find sort of holes in your schedule? And the typical NBA athlete, they find sort of holes in the schedule where you can work a little bit on these other passion projects or investment projects or other things. How do you manage sort of the schedule?
Yeah, it's all about time management. I mean, I think that just to be an NBA player, if you didn't do anything else, you still have to manage your time pretty well. I mean, you do have some free time, but you still have to, make sure that you're, utilizing your time well. Myself, I'm a family man. I have 4 kids. I have a wife. Also have multiple businesses that I run. Not run, but help, in some way, shape, or form as an investor or as a founder, partner type, guy. And so it's definitely something that it requires me to utilize basically all of my downtime. Mm-hmm. And when I say downtime, I mean when I'm in the car, that's when I do phone calls. When I'm even pre-practice in the locker room, I mean, if you ask my teammates right now, hey, when Anthony walks into the locker room, what is he usually doing? They'll say he's on the phone. Because I'm always taking phone calls. Anytime I'm away from my wife and kids, I'm taking phone calls, emails, and doing stuff so that I can get caught up. And that's just kind of how I've been able to do it. So when I am home, I'm not on the phone. I'm not checking emails. I'm actually able to be present with my family. So it's definitely a juggling act. It's definitely a daily thing that I try to make sure that I keep priorities number one, but make sure that I'm able to fulfill the obligations that I have.
When you think about your business activities and sort of investing activities, and those of the typical sort of professional athlete, there's obviously been you have young people that have accumulated some wealth and now are thinking about asset allocation across a variety of asset classes. You've got a finance background, and you made investments in a lot of different asset classes. Some real estate, some core businesses, some venture, some technology, some media, right? How do you think about sort of asset allocation across those? Are you trying to build a diversified portfolio across these different things? Are they more sort of passion projects, meaning you find something that you think can generate an investment return that you're also genuinely passionate about? How do you think about sort of asset allocation and investing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in having a diverse portfolio. If you look at my portfolio, I think diverse is probably one word you could use to describe it. It's not your typical portfolio. I think that a lot of people get comfortable in a certain area, and they do a lot of investing in that area, which is fine, and that's for some people. I am an opportunity-based investor, someone who tries to analyze things, tries to gain knowledge in certain areas enough to understand it, enough to be comfortable to invest in it. And so there's my portfolio has all kinds of different things in it. So one thing I like about that is, hey, if the real estate market tanks, it's not like my whole portfolio tanks. It's not all based on real estate, or if, some tech investments, or if something that I invest in goes to zero, it's not going to affect everything else. So yeah, I mean, I like the fact that, it's not all intertwined in the same industry or anything like that. And that definitely helps me sleep at night too, is like, I know that, it would take a complete, disaster of a economy for my portfolio to go to zero, or to go significantly down.
So as a venture fund, we're constantly looking for new opportunities, areas of innovation that maybe we didn't know much about. And we try and get there early, as as a seed investor. Oftentimes we're investing alongside of corporate groups who have given us some insight into a market opportunity or an innovation that was interesting. We've invested, as into robotics companies and drone company. We're looking now at a multi-directional treadmill. I mean, we've got some really interesting technologies that we think there's extraordinary markets for. In the NBA and in professional sports broadly, are you seeing certain windows into areas of need where technology could play a major role? I mean, there's been discussions for a while about sensors within professional athletes' clothing to monitor heart rates and monitor their condition. There's been certainly technologies that have been used for rehab and conditioning. There's technologies that influence fan engagement, right, and allow the fan to be closer to the athlete or get information. When you sort of look across what's happening in the NBA and with your own sort of training and game time and all the things that you have to navigate through, are there any technologies that you find are an area where there's a need for a technology or a new technology that's been introduced that you think is kind of intriguing?
I mean, honestly, there's so much going on right now, all across the NBA, and I think across sports in general. But there's so many new technologies that are being introduced. I'm not sure what the winners are going to be yet. What's going to kind of come out on top. But I think that the more technology-based companies that are sports related, I think they're just kind of popping up left and right. And I think that the ones that minimize the player engagement. Engagement as in having the player have to do something where, like you said, if it's in my jersey and I don't have to do anything, no big deal. But if it's something I have to put on myself or you have to rely on that piece of it, I don't think it's going to work. I think that there's so many guys, we've been playing this game for so long. We don't want to add anything to it, add anything to our routines, or, if it's something like a wearable, like I said, it has to be something that goes inside of something we already wear. So I think that, like, for example, Noah, there's a system called Noah that we have at our practice facility. The reason why I like it a lot is because you literally go to the basket and you shoot your shots. and it has a video camera up top, and it has facial recognition, so you don't have to plug in that it's you. It knows it to you,
Yeah.
right? So you go there, you shoot your shots, and after you're done shooting, you literally can pull up your stats. You can pull up how many shots you made, where they're from, and pull up individual video of each shot. So that's the type of technology I think that's going to be winners in sports, is the ones that players don't have to think about or do anything for, and it's just there, and you're able to track whatever you're trying to track.
There's a lot of discussion right now about kind of pattern recognition and artificial intelligence in a lot of different markets outside of professional sports. Does that come up in your world? Does artificial intelligence as a way of tracking where a player is on the court, or to your point, it's certain routines that are integrated into practices? Does artificial intelligence come up much, or is it invisible? Effectively, it's happening behind the scenes with new products and technologies being introduced.
Yeah, it's not something that we talk about really.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, it's anything that is going to succeed, and especially at the professional level, it will be the things that are invisible, the things that we don't know are there. We can't see it. It's just basically done by camera or by sensors that we don't have to do anything, right? It's all sensors in the walls, or whatever it may be. Those are the things to me that will be able to achieve the things that technology companies want to achieve. They want to get data, they want to get analytics, but also get buy-in from the players. The players, like I said, don't have to go and wear a special shoe or wear a special sleeve or wear anything special or do anything special. They just do what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that those are the ones that are going to ultimately come out on top.
There's real-time information that's being fed to sidelines in NBA, in NFL games, and I'm wondering how quickly that's going to, when will we see, sort of head coaches of NBA teams with iPads that are effectively connected and with information.
I did see literally at the game a couple days ago. It was in the first quarter. Within the first 2.5 minutes, we had a timeout, and our video guy had his laptop out showing one of our players a couple of the clips from literally just, that happened 35 seconds ago. This is what happened or whatever. So I mean, it is there a lot. A lot of things are already there. Capabilities are already there to do things in real time. It's just a matter of implementing the right things, specifically for basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, for football, it seems like they kind of have that down a little bit. But for basketball, I think that the technology piece is still, trying to figure out, okay, what's super effective, what makes sense, and what can be very valuable.
Let's talk for a second. We talked a little bit about basketball, about business, about investing, about technology. Let's talk a little bit about something that I know you're passionate about. You've just made an investment or playing an active role in Players TV. Can you just tell, for people who aren't familiar with what Players TV is, can you give us kind of the overview as to what the vision and mission is for that organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's pre-launch right now. Haven't even discussed this publicly, so hey, keep it quiet. No, so Players TV is a media outlet that we decided to create. It's been a little bit over a year since we came up with the concept, but in a very, very super easy way to describe it is we want to be the Hulu of sports, or of player content, not sports content, player content. And when I say player content, I don't mean sports. I don't mean, okay, Anthony Tolliver shooting threes in his NBA jersey or whatever. Who's Anthony Tolliver off the court? Who is Blake Griffin off the court? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What are their investments? What are their what do they do? Who are they? Right? And that's what we want to be. We want to be the go-to place for all things player, outside of their respective sports. And so, as of right now, we're building out a investment team. We're investing. We're raising money to get this thing started. We have a partnership, with a very large, notable company that will be launching our platform, our channel on their platform. Here in the next 3 to 4 months or so. And the ultimate goal is to, like I said, be the Hulu. So we'll have our own um, platform that will be, our platform with channel partners and everything else. So that's why I say like a Hulu of players content. So yeah, we're really excited about it. It is something that there's I think there's probably around 10 between 10 and 15 athletes that are behind the scenes investing and agreeing to content production type of roles and stuff. And so it's just getting started. It's definitely something that we're really excited about.
Well, I'm interested to track it and continue to learn more, because my experience is that there's a fragmentation of player content, of kind of who they are as people and what they're doing off the court. But it's across so many different channels. It's showing up on Dude Perfect, and then it's showing up, in sort of other types of shows and settings, but it hasn't been centralized in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the idea of a player-owned and led channel that is focused on sort of off-court content for professional athletes is really interesting. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
Keep you posted.
Thank you.
Let me just, as we wrap up here, if you don't mind, just ask a couple of personal questions. We're involved in an entrepreneurs organization. These are very accomplished CEOs and investors that are kind of operating businesses and investing companies, but also working on kind of professional development and personal development, and sort of always looking to gain perspective on how successful people sort of go about their day to day. And so just, you've got a game here, tonight, as you sort of strive for professional excellence and sort of a positive mindset. Is there anything you do sort of pregame that sort of optimizes sort of the mental aspect of bringing your A game to a basketball game, as that might be helpful for a business person who's trying to bring their A game to their employees that they're managing or their business each day?
Yeah, I read. A lot of people listen to like hype music and get hyped and like like rah rah rah. Like, to me, I'm the complete opposite. Like, if I listen to that type of music, I might or even read something or watch something that gets me hyped. I won't have any energy for the game. I'll probably just use it all pregame. But for me, it's about relaxing and about just kind of getting into like almost people call it like a zen. Like, I just like to just relax. Just get on the table whenever I'm doing pregame and have them work on my muscles, and just kind of like the complete opposite. It's just relax, read, and get my brain in like a very calm state, so that whenever it's time to ramp up, I ramp up and I can go full bore. So that's my thing. Like I said, I'm gonna go take a nap. So it's another piece of it is taking care of yourself. Allowing yourself to have time to rest. Get a good night's sleep, rest and relax, and really depend and rely on the work you've put in. Right. So I'm not going to be nervous about tonight, and just like I've never really been nervous about any game, because I know I've put in the work. So there's nothing to worry about. It's just go out there and perform and do what I do.
On non-game days, when you're an incredibly positive person. You've had extraordinary success in your industry. On non-game days, when you're just trying to bring sort of a unique perspective and sort of positive attitude toward the people that you engage with and the businesses that you interact with, and try and be an inspirational figure. Is there any morning routine that you go through to sort of start your day off right? We asked some of the corporate executives sort of how do they start their days, and it seems as though many people that I know, particularly entrepreneurs, start their day in an anxious state, and they don't really figure out a way to kind of find their groove or focus their energy or their mindset on how they can make that day great. Is there anything that you do in the morning as you sort of kick off your day on a non-game day that is a routine that has served you well?
Yeah, I mean, on a game day, non-game day, it's the same thing. I wake up and I actually try to stay away from the hustle and bustle, stay away from my phone, at least for a few minutes, right? And what I do, I'm a man of faith. So I do a devotional every single morning. So once again, I guess my answer is I read. I get up and allow myself to, wake up, open my eyes, and just be thankful for another time to wake up and I, read a little devotional, maybe 5 minutes a day, just to kind of, get my mind started on something that is not of the hustle and bustle, the world of the, you start open up your phone and social media and your text and your emails and everything else, and all of a sudden you look up and you're going to sleep, right? So I just try and start my day with something very calm, and something, that allows me to kind of center myself, and also to not make it about myself. That make any sense? Like where, like I said, as soon as you open up your phone and everything else, it becomes about you and your business and getting something done and getting this done and, the 1,000 things you got to do today. Whenever I read my devotionals, I try and, take something from it that I can implement that day, and try to do that every day.
Last question for you. Blogs or podcasts or TED Talks. Is there one that you've listened to or watched recently that sort of jumps out that you'd mentioned that sort of had an impact on you? Oftentimes we're finding that there's these. It was interesting. I think talking with the one of the CEOs from I think it was SMUD actually. He said he's starting to look at industry trends outside of the area that he's focused on with his business to see what else the world is doing, to get some outside perspective. Is there anything that's jumped out to you in the last quarter or so that you've read or watched?
Yeah, so I don't listen to a whole lot of podcasts, or even blogs or vlogs or anything. I listen to a lot of Audible books. That's kind of my intake when it comes to, that way it's not something I have to like keep up with, right? Yeah, I can kind of, especially with my schedule. I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't have like a regular schedule where every single morning at 8 o'clock I can listen to something. It's kind of like, all right, I have 15 minutes, between now and when I go shoot. So let me do something, right? So for me, I listen to a lot of Audible books, and one of the Audible books that I've listened to, probably 3 or 4 times now it's called The Power of Habit. And it is really amazing. It just kind of shows you the power of, how much power you have actually, but also how much power habits have over you, right? So it's kind of like both. You have the power to change your habits, but also if you don't, if you don't understand them, you won't be able to change them, right? And so, The Power of Habit is a book that really made a pretty big impact on kind of how I view a lot of different things. And there's another book that I'm reading called Mindset, and it's really good. It's talking about the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and how a fixed mindset people, have a lot of barriers, have a lot of ceilings, because their minds are fixed, and it affects almost every part of life, not just business, but just life in general. Having a fixed mindset compared to a growth mindset where you feel like everything's a learning experience and you can always get better. Those people are always more successful. So it's just definitely a great concept, and just a reminder that always take things as a learning experience. Even if you do lose, even if you do fail, it's not necessarily failure. It's just a learning experience, and you can move forward and get better from it.
Thanks so much for spending time with us today. It's been really enjoyed the discussion actually about your activities off the court. And I'm as you mentioned, rooting for you, but not necessarily rooting for the Trailblazers tonight. So thanks again for spending time with us.
Absolutely, no problem.